This past June, a group of cyclists from northern Michigan took part of the National Great Cycle Challenge. It's a fundraising effort for the Children's Cancer Research Fund.
And the goal is to ride as many miles and collect as many pledges as possible. And this team of riders went above and beyond with their inspiration pedaling right beside them. 7 and 4's Brett Kast joined us live from Traverse City outside of McLean Cycle and Fitness to bring us the story behind their riding inspiration. Hey, Brett, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. The McLean race team has 22 members, and this June, 12 of them took part in the Great Cycle Challenge. And they started out with relatively moderate expectations on what they wanted to, as far as money to raise, how many miles they wanted to ride. But when you ride with rider Dan Morley, expectations are meant to be shattered. The McLean race team was one of almost 1,000 teams that took part in the National Great Cycle Challenge. However, there's one thing, or at least one person, that sets them apart.
We all look up to this guy. Who would have thunk that this guy would be biking with us today?
Team member Dan Morley first started cycling about 5 years ago, and once he started, he couldn't stop. That is until 3 years later, while competing in the Iceman Challenge, something made him stop.
And I had a hard time swallowing water and breathing at different times during the race. I thought I was just coming down with strep throat. Well, 2 weeks later, I ended up being diagnosed with throat cancer.
Throat cancer. And to treat it, Morley underwent chemotherapy, until a reoccurrence later called for a laryngectomy.
One of the first questions I asked them was, would I be able to ride my bike again? And they said, you know, you can do anything you want to do.
Less than a year later, Morley not only got back on the bike, but rode over 300 miles during the Great Cycle Challenge, motivating not only himself, but those around him.
He keeps me motivated every day. When I see this guy and what he can do, he pushes me to the max.
While cancer may have taken Morley's voice box, it didn't take away his voice. In fact, it only made it louder. After all, actions speak louder than words.
I'm not nearly as fast, and I don't have the same endurance I had back in 2015. But you know, I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm lapping everybody on the couch.
So the team started out with a goal of raising about $1,000, then it went up to about $3,500. Well, eventually the team raised over $7,000, and that made them good enough for first in the country as far as a cycling club, and they raised more than any other cycling club, and their #1 fundraiser this year was a now cancer-free Dan Morley. Reporting in Traverse City, Brett Kast, 7 and 4 News.
Wow, what an inspirational story.
Yes, I mean, and Dan, the rider, instead of letting his cancer bring him down, he used it as motivation. And then his fellow riders who were so supportive
right there
of
at his
him,
side.
just kudos to him. It's incredibly inspirational.
Wow, thanks, Brett. That was a great story.